All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about something that could totally change how you deal with those moments of frustration or anger. The feelings that can just wreck your whole day.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. It could be one little comment, a snarky email, or someone just looking at you the wrong way, and bam, your good mood is completely tanked. It feels like they have this weird remote control for your emotions. But what if I told you that's not actually how it works?
Look at that number 90 seconds. That's it. From a brain science perspective, when you feel a rush of anger, the actual chemical reaction in your brain is over and done with in about 90 seconds. So if it's over that fast, why are we still fuming about it hours or even days later? And this right here, this is the reason. After that 90-second chemical wave washes over, we are at a crossroads. We make a choice, consciously or not, to keep that feeling alive by replaying the story of what happened. Think about it. It's like a smoke alarm going off because you burned some toast. The danger is gone. The toast is toast. But instead of just opening a window, you stand there, re-burning the toast in your mind over and over again, forcing that alarm to just keep on screaming. So this is the first big secret, that 90-second rule. Just knowing this is a game changer because it reveals you have a choice point. You can let that chemical reaction just flush out of your system, or you can choose to keep throwing logs on the fire by retelling yourself that angry story. All right, so now that we've got the 90-second rule in our back pocket, let's use it to bust a huge, and I mean huge, myth. The idea that other people can push our buttons. We say this stuff all the time, don't we? It's like we're handing someone else the remote control to our own feelings. We act like we're just these helpless machines, and other people can just walk up and press our rage button whenever they feel like it. But what if we've been looking at this completely backwards? This shift in thinking is everything. The myth is that people have power over you. The truth? Those buttons aren't buttons at all. They're sore spots. They're unhealed wounds. When someone says or does something that gets a huge reaction out of you, they're not creating the wound. They're just accidentally pointing a flashlight at one that was already there. And let's go one level deeper. A lot of the time, the thing we call anger isn't even the real emotion. It's what psychologists call a secondary emotion. It's like a big, tough-looking security guard that rushes out to the front gate because it feels way safer and more powerful than admitting, hey, I'm actually really hurt, or I'm scared, or I feel so embarrassed right now. If your partner forgets your anniversary, the anger that explodes isn't really the root of it. The root is the deep, vulnerable hurt of feeling insignificant or forgotten. Okay, so this brings us to the absolute best part of this whole thing. This is where you take your power back. This idea is huge. It was famously articulated by Viktor Frankl, who discovered it while surviving the horrors of a concentration camp. He realized that between what happens to us, the trigger, and how we respond, there is a space, a tiny little pause. Most of us live our whole lives not even knowing that space exists, so we react on autopilot. But inside that space, that is where your power and your freedom live. So let's make this super practical. A coworker sends you a passive-aggressive email. That's the trigger. Your blood starts to boil, your fingers are flying to the keyboard to write a scathing reply. But wait, you hit the pause button. That's it. That's the choice point. And in that tiny moment of pause, you get to ask a new question. Who do I want to be in this moment? What response would I be proud of tomorrow? And from that place, you choose your response. Okay, so you found this magical space, this choice point. Now what are you doing there? Well, you need a few tools. Let's build your emotional toolkit. We're going to talk about 3 powerhouse tools you can use in that moment. Activating your observer self, using the power of the reframe, and setting a healthy boundary. First up is the observer self. This might sound a little out there, but it's incredibly practical. It's the part of you that can step back and just notice an emotion without becoming the emotion. So instead of thinking, I am furious, you shift it to, interesting, I notice the feeling of fury is rising in my chest. See the difference? You're not the hurricane, you're the weather reporter, calmly observing it pass by. That little bit of distance is everything. Next up, the reframe. The story we tell ourselves is, well, it's everything. Look at the 2 stories here. The persecution story is, my boss is a micromanaging jerk who doesn't trust me. And that feels awful, right? It makes you a victim. Now try on the practice story. My boss is my personal emotional fitness trainer. He's giving me the perfect opportunity to practice patience and clear communication. Same situation, totally different feeling. You're no longer a victim. You're a student in your own emotional gym. And tool number 3,
Boundaries. This is so important. A healthy boundary isn't a brick wall you build to keep everyone out. Think of it more like a gate, and you're the gatekeeper. You get to decide what you let in and what you keep out. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being assertive and protecting your own energy and peace so that you actually have something left to give to the people and things that matter. So, we have the theory, we have the tools. How do we put this all together to actually become that person? The one who stays cool under pressure, the one people admire for being so unflappable? And listen, this right here might be the most important part of this whole conversation. You can understand all of this intellectually, you can nod along, but knowledge without practice is just entertainment. True, lasting change doesn't come from watching a video. It comes from doing the reps day in and day out and literally rewiring the neural pathways in your brain.
So let's make it incredibly simple. Don't try to do all of this at once. You'll get overwhelmed. For this next week, just pick one thing to practice. Just one. Maybe every time you feel that flash of irritation, you just say to yourself, okay, 90 seconds. That's it. Or maybe you just focus on finding that tiny pause before you speak. Tiny hinges swing big doors. Small, consistent practice is what leads to massive results. And that's what I want to leave you with. Really sit with this question for a minute. When the actions and words of other people no longer have the power to dictate your internal state, who do you become? What kind of parent, partner, leader, or friend are you? How much energy do you free up for the things you truly care about? That person is absolutely waiting for you.